Hi, I'm here because I'm really very serious about talking to you about learning about trauma. The pandemic has made it even more important. Anxiety is on the increase, but not just on the increase. Anxiety has increased by more than 50% in every single human being in the world. This is the latest information from the World Health Organization. And something else that's very important, 75% of all mental health problems are tied into dysregulation, the person being unable to regulate themselves. Trauma produces dysregulation. And trauma is very different. Don't think you can work with trauma by analyzing it. It's a process-oriented exchange that has to take place. And for instance, you might say, oh, the person is telling me about a lot of trauma and it really hurts. And oh, you poor thing. Worst thing you can do. When you show too much empathy when listening to a client telling you about the trauma, remember that many people were traumatized by people that were so empathetic and then abused them. So trauma is counterintuitive. I'm taking a course this afternoon to deal with the latest research. In your trauma training with me, you will get the most up-to-date research, usually only 2 or 3 months old, and all the basics you really need to start really feeling comfortable with, yes, I can deal with trauma. And frankly, I got to tell you that dissociation and dysregulation and an inability to focus, if we don't handle that as a process, doesn't matter what the diagnosis is, you're not going to be effective. And working with trauma, you have to know what to do and not to do, and you'll be getting trances and you'll be getting exercises, and you have to be able to touch the part of your own trauma without confusing it with the client's. Otherwise, you're going to treat your own trauma in the client, and that's not what they're for. I am a postdoctorate in post-traumatic stress. I was an international trainer in EMDR, and I worked with highly traumatized populations, people in my own practice, people who were kidnapped, people in prison, and I worked with the indigenous during the Civil War in Guatemala and some of the indigenous who were being persecuted in Mexico. I have the clinical experience, and I'm here to teach you how to really work effectively with trauma, and it will be offered in February. And we're not planning on offering the introductory level of trauma again for at least another year and a half. Please join me there. I promise not to traumatize you, but help you how to know to work effectively, because most of your clients, if they didn't have trauma before the pandemic, they have it now.